r/TwoXChromosomes. Trashman27 says, is anyone just a bit terrified by the possible prospect of losing more rights and opportunities? Ever since Roe v. Wade was overturned, is anyone else scared of losing more agency, autonomy, and opportunities? Because to me, a lot of what we have now is actually very recent in terms of history, like to be able to vote, and to be financially independent, and participate in the workforce, even now in fields dominated by men. And is anyone terrified by where we are headed politically, like the rise in extremism and fascism? Like to me, it really feels like any significant stressor in our political environment could push us out of the public sphere back into traditional roles. Puts me on edge. Some sapphikix says, yes, and we should be. Fear is a perfectly appropriate emotion in the face of the ongoing developments in our world. And I mean all of the world. America is a very visible example right now, but women nowhere are safe. So allow yourself to feel fear. And then allow yourself to feel rage. And then start thinking about what you can do to change things. And I don't mean vote, in the vague hopes that maybe other politicians will not try to restrict our rights. I mean make sure that the government would not be able to restrict our rights if it, tried power always lies with the people. And women are literally half the population. Even if we had no male allies, practically no force in the world could oppress us if we consistently stood together and supported, protected and uplifted one another. All we need to win is solidarity and determination. Character_peach_2769 says, I think one of the best things women can do is put their money together to buy property. Between 2 or 3 women. Keep the home as a safe haven, share chores/childcare if you're single mothers, and use the safe space to focus on advancing your education and careers. You could also host women's rights groups at the house and organize from there. Alchemist Doctor says, that won't matter if they revoke the right to own property, which is historically possible. Women have had to own things via the nearest male relative for most of history. Exhibit number own says, I think things are going to escalate even harder honestly. Men want to hurt women. Cacturg says, and let's not forget that women who benefit from being special also want to hurt women. The recent article that made the rounds about the Texas woman being forced to carry her non-viable pregnancy to term includes a quote from her saying she's against abortion. The Moms for Liberty, or whatever they call themselves, are organizing and attacking library systems and school boards to ban books and lessons about safety, gender, and government overreach. There are trans women who advocate against gender-confirming therapies for people of all ages, and especially kids. There are women leading and organizing their church fundraisers for conversion camps and forced birth campaigns, and there are women staffing the predatory crisis pregnancy centers. Dobbs was only one step in a plan to restore complete white Christian patriarchal control. That's why they're attacking women, queer people, trans people, socialists, Antifa, Jewish people, black people, Chinese and Asian people, and more. Fascists rise to power by pointing a finger at the most vulnerable people and saying it's their fault. The Nazis' first steps were to attack trans and queer people and unionists and socialists. The first book burnings were of transgender research. Jews were isolated into ghettos before the camps were ever built, and there were Jews who worked for the Reich and socialists who spied for the Reich and queer men leading the Reich's military. Solidarity is key and it crosses all gender, sexual, religious, and racial identities. This is an attack on all of us. It's just that Dobbs is such a massive decision that affects such a large part of society that it feels profoundly violating. It's a direct revocation of a right based on sex. So we are totally right to be upset about it, but we have to band together to work with all our allies to fight. Guillotine says, homie, I'm not a woman and I'm terrified. I don't know how they just candidly repealed a long-held right women had, with so little resistance and fanfare. Roe v. Wade died with about as much resistance as a bullet through butter. r/TwoXChromosomes. Tigger 808 says, "So proud of my state, Hawaii, for expanding abortion access and protecting providers of reproductive health care." Hawaii was the first state to legalize abortion in 1970, 3 years before Roe v. Wade. The governor just signed HB 1 expanding abortion rights. It prohibits sharing any reproductive health data about procedures legally performed within the state with out-of-state authorities, even if there is a subpoena. It provides protections to medical personnel from being required to testify or submit in other states for reproductive health care procedures that are legal in this state. It allows licensed physician assistants and some nurses to perform abortions in the first trimester, either by medication or aspiration. It allows 16 and 17-year-olds to obtain an abortion without parental consent. And it removes language in existing law that required abortions to be performed in hospitals. Chatbot Friend says, "Congrats, I'm happy for you. It is nice to live in a pro-choice state." Etheria Blotsky says, "Wow. I didn't know that." Vanessa Gerald 206 says, "Happy news." r/TwoXChromosomes. Fran KTH3 Bunny 666 says, "Annoyed. Was on the train with headphones on and laptop open doing a uni assignment. Middle-aged man comes and sits next to me. I look around, free seats everywhere. He motions for me to take off my headphones. He makes some chit chat with me. Starts touching my leg and leaning into me. I'm always used to just taking it. Never calling people out. And I didn't call this guy out either. Just packed my shit up. Stood up and moved. I really wish I said something like, 'Why did you choose the only young female to sit next to and bother?' He was telling me his wife is cheating on him, asking if we could be friends. I just hate the fact I can't speak up. I always freeze. I think I've had some bad experiences with men over the years. Really hate it. Thanks for listening." I_like_your_boots says, "That's awful. I'm sorry you had to go through that. Don't blame yourself for how you reacted. It's natural to freeze in situations in uncomfortable/dangerous situations. Do whatever keeps you safe." Ninjeritus says, "So sorry, what a memory to have to erase." Bill Dunk's Fetish says, "Just the act of packing up and leaving is hard to mow. Seriously, give yourself more credit. It is hard dealing with entitled men and no one taught us how to. Don't hate yourself for how you react. Hate the men that act entitled to your emotional and bodily availability to them. You did a good thing for yourself there. You silently set your boundaries. It is okay and natural to freeze, but you even left." Kelly or Red says, "I'm so sorry this happened to you. You'll find your voice, I promise, and when you do, you'll be happy that you can express your boundaries plainly and simply. You will. Take care of you." r/TwoXChromosomes. Communist Barabbas says, "The amount of open predators there are." I was reading a comment about how many women were groped/creeped out by odd/suspicious behavior by men, or anyone really, in positions of power, and how it's an open secret within circles. I was thinking about women who warn other women about predators, and how insane it is to even have the phrase open predator. Everyone knows it's happening, but there are no consequences, further reinforcing the behavior. My first memory of an open predator was in high school. It was an open secret that the English teacher dated former students and was always peeking looks at the girls. I was griping to my friend that I just could not get a good grade in his class. She gave me a dismissive wave and said, "Girl, do like everyone else." Wear a low-cut shirt or a short skirt. Bend over, give him a little show and you'll be good true to form. I wore a tight red shirt, went to his office hours, leaned over his gradebook so he could see down my shirt, and I said, what can I do to get a good grade? He said, what do you want? I said, I want a B+. He opened up his gradebook, added the grade, and I left. I was 15. At first I took pride in knowing that I seduced my teacher, but looking back on it, now that I'm damn near 30, I find it gross and disturbing how open it was known this person was attracted to underage girls. Pumpkin Pie is great says, there's been 2 male teachers I crossed paths with that had a reputation for being perverts. One would blast the air conditioning all the time, even in cold weather, to try and get the girls' nipples to stick out. I hate that on the TV show Pretty Little Liars, people shipped Aria and that predatory teacher. That's not romance, that's disgusting. Presentable_corpse says, imagine what a beautiful society we'd have if we locked these predators up. That's all for this video. Was it good? I know not, for I'm a robot. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe. This video is the product of an automated process.